Everyone, it's been a while. My name is meteorologist Heather Cannon. It's time for our daily hail forecast, sponsored as always by, we have Merlin Law Group, we have American Contractor Show, Atlas Roofing, Premier Claims, as well as the Raising Hail Tour. Did I get them all? If not, I apologize. We have a lot of sponsors, which is great. Thank you guys, as always, for sponsoring our videos. And that is not what I wanted to do. I want this button. There we go. You can tell it's been a while. I'm a bit rusty even with buttons. So we do have a bit of a risk for some severe weather today along the East Coast. I think the biggest chance in terms of the type of severe weather will be a wind. There will be a chance for a tornado or two possible as well. And then as we get into the rest of today and into early tomorrow, we do have a flood risk along the East Coast as well. And then getting into tomorrow, it's going to be a quiet day as this cold front moves off the coast. And I don't know why it keeps doing that, but I keep seeing the back of the screen. Anyway, so here are yesterday's storm reports. There really weren't a whole lot. There are just a few here in the panhandle of Florida. And besides that, there really wasn't a whole lot in terms of severe weather. So as we get into this next graphic here we go. Over the last 24 hours, we've had a lot of rain, and it's going to continue to accumulate as we get through the rest of today and into tonight in the Northeast. But you can see an inch or two here in the Northeast, and as you go further south into the Southeast, these yellows here indicate anywhere from 4 to 5 inches of rain. So a lot of rain has fallen, especially in the southeastern part of the country. In terms of snow, we have had some snow accumulating here across parts of the northern U.S., some areas of heavier snow here along the western coast of Michigan, as well as into parts of the Northeast. And then we're going to zoom right into Rapid City, South Dakota, especially up into the Black Hills region. We had up over a foot of snow in those higher terrain areas. So I spent almost 2 years there in grad school. So yeah, they tend to get a good amount of snow up in those Black Hills. Not as much, though, as you get east of the Black Hills in Rapid City and in Wall, just a few inches here. And it's been getting colder, and that cold air is continuing to push off to the south from our neighbors in Canada. These cooler colors here show the departure from what we should be seeing at this time of the year. So anywhere from 10 to 20 degrees below average from the Dakotas into Minnesota, down into Iowa, and a bit warmer here than average in the Northeast, but that will change as that cold front pushes off to the east and it moves off the coast as we get into tomorrow. You can see those blues and purples start pushing off to the east here as we get into tomorrow. So here are current conditions across the country. We do have a cold front, again, that's pushing that cold air from Canada to the east. And we also have another cold front right along the east coast. So we're gonna zoom right into a few of these areas here. So again, a front is situated right along the eastern part of the United States. Low pressure here in New York, warm front stretching up into Maine. A lot of heavy rain is falling here, so We do have that risk for flooding from basically Maine all the way down to the Carolinas and parts of eastern Georgia and Florida. And then behind the warm air, we do have some snow falling, and so this will be accumulating here as we go through the rest of the day today. And again, cold air behind it, that other cold front. So I'm going to zoom right into a few of these areas. Again, lots of heavy rain here in the northeast, even some mixing of some sleet here in parts of Maine. Then that white is snow on the back end of this system. So here are our current alerts across the country. So we do have a few different areas here. So we have some flooding possible in the northeast and some frost advisories here in the south, and then some scattered winter storm warnings and advisories out. So let's go on south to Jacksonville, or just west of Jacksonville, so parts of southern Georgia into parts of northern Florida. We do have a frost advisory. This is actually for tomorrow morning. This will go from 3 to 8 a.m. Eastern time. And then moving up to the north, we have a flood watch in effect for all that heavy rain that we just saw on the radar. We have some wind advisories out as well. And then we also have some lake effect snow warnings. So we could get up to a foot of snow in those heavier bands here. And then as we move a bit further west, we have some winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings out until tomorrow evening. We can get up to another 6 or 7 inches with this, maybe a bit more in those winter storm warnings, and then some scattered winter weather advisories here and there for parts of Montana, and then into Oregon and into parts of the mountainous regions of California, where we can get a few inches more of snow there. And this will be in effect until 4 p.m. tomorrow Pacific time. So here's our future radar. So again, like we saw on the current radar, lots of rain here, snow on the back end, some lake effect snow here in the Great Lakes region, and then some more snow up into parts of Montana. But I mean, after we get this system out of here, it's going to quiet down a bit. So as we go through the rest of today, that cold front will start to push off to the east, enter the Atlantic. That cold air will get sucked in behind this system, moving from the north and going to the south. And so as that cold air moves in, any moisture that falls will be in the form of snow. And basically by 10:30 Central Time, so 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time tonight, most of the East Coast will be clear, except for basically Maine down to New York, where we'll still be seeing some precipitation falling. And then as we get into the early morning hours, you can see that front is well off the coast here. And then we do have another system moving on into the western part of the U.S., where more rain as well as some heavier snow will be falling in the higher elevations as we get into tomorrow morning and then into tomorrow afternoon. Some more snow here falling in the form of light effect snow here in the Great Lakes and into parts of New York, where we have those lake effect snow warnings out as we get into the rest of tomorrow. I mean, besides the northeast with the lake effect and the snow falling in the west, you can see most of us here in the central U.S. looks to be relatively quiet as we get into tomorrow. In terms of snow accumulation, a few inches here in the Great Lakes region, but you can see right along the lakes, some heavier snow up to a foot is possible. And then we also have some heavier snow likely here in the mountains of California, in a few inches, up to 2 inches possible as we get into tomorrow in parts of eastern Montana. But besides that, like I said, I mean, it should be quiet as we get into tomorrow, unless you live along the coast of Michigan and New York and things like that. So let's break down the weather situation for today. This is a future radar here for parts of the northeast. We could see some storms firing up here along and ahead of that cold front. Winds will be the main risk. We could see a tornado or two. It just depends how much of that instability we can get going. But then as we get into later on in the evening, stopping it at 6 p.m. Eastern time, you can see that line of storms almost off the coast here. We could see some gusty, wind or two of a gust here in the northeast. But I do think the brunt of that severe weather potential will be south of you guys in Boston. Cold air behind the system, so snow will be falling. Again, we do have those winter weather advisories out, as well as some winter storm warnings and the lake effect warnings out. So if you're along those lakes and you tend to get that lake effect snow, it's going to be piling up as we go into the next few days. And then as we get into the morning hours, you can see for the most part, the eastern coast of the United States will be clear from that severe weather threat. Moving on to the south, a line will be pushing off to the east here as we go through the next few hours. There is a slight risk that we could see some storms fire up here in Florida that could become severe as we go into the rest of this afternoon and evening. You can see by 3:30 Eastern time, most of the activity is going to be off the coast. Just a few storms here in far eastern North Carolina. And then as we go into the rest of the evening, by about 6 p.m. or so Eastern time, that line should be clear of the coast, and the rest of the evening and the overnight hours look to be quiet for you guys. So we're just going to run it on through here. Let's finish off the time. So here's our wind forecast for today. Again, up to 60 mile per hour wind gusts are possible with those stronger storms. I think the chances of severe weather will be relatively low today. Now that I say that, we'll probably get more activity than anticipated. But as of right now, a low-end chance to see those 60 mile per hour wind gusts from Fort Myers, Orlando, Jacksonville, all the way up to Charleston, South Carolina, and into Wilmington, North Carolina, and that stretches all the way up the coast here to parts of New Jersey. I do have Atlantic City in there. So again, 60 mile per hour wind gusts are possible with the strongest storms. And then we do have a low-end tornado threat as well. If I can get the graphic to load, here we go. So a low chance here to see a tornado or two. National Weather Service has a 5% chance out here for some tornadoes along the eastern coast of North Carolina. Otherwise, the green for us is about a 2% chance here. So low-end chances here from basically Florida all the way up to eastern Virginia. And basically after about 6 or so Eastern time, those storms should be off the coast, and the rest of the evening and the overnight hours will be okay for you guys. So in terms of severe weather overall today, I think it's going to be a low-end risk. Winds will be the main factor to watch today. We do have a chance to see a tornado or two. Hail, I don't think we're going to see any of that today. It's just going to be all in linear mode. And then in terms of flooding, we do have a decent chance to see some flooded roads, especially in the northeast where we have those flood watches out. So keep that in mind as well. And then as we go into the next few days, so tomorrow, that front will be off the coast. We'll just be dealing with that lake effect snow here in the northeast. And then that next system moving on into the west, dumping more rain and snow there. And that will be pretty much, the main deal as we go into tomorrow. Just more lake effect snow here, more rain and snow out in the west. And as we get into Friday, we start to quiet down a bit. So we're just going to let that go through because that's how that thing just jumped. So here we go, going into Friday, there we go. So, besides those two areas here in the northeast and in the west, central part of the U.S. looks to be relatively quiet. Maybe a little bit of rain here in parts of Oklahoma and Texas, but no severe weather with that. And as we get into tomorrow, like I said, no severe weather is expected. So no hail, no severe winds or anything. Today is really the last day to see severe weather for the next few days. And like I said at the beginning, it's cold and it's going to continue to be cold as we go into the next few days. You can see that cold air coming down south from Canada. Temperatures only in the single digits here. As we go into this evening, only 2 is expected in Bismarck, 1 in Minneapolis, so very cold, and temperatures not really getting above freezing here for much of us in the lower 48. If you want warm weather, you're going to have to go down to areas such as Miami, if you even like, 50s, because it's only going to be, in the upper or mid to upper 50s tomorrow as we wake up. We do warm up a bit tomorrow afternoon, but still cold here up in the north as that cold air continues to take over. And then waking up Friday, more the same. It's going to be -2 here in Minneapolis as we wake up on Friday. So that's an actual temperature, that's not the wind chill. So make sure you bundle up here across the north, and then we warm up to a balmy 17 on our Friday. And then it'll be a bit better on Saturday as we reach about 26 as we begin our day on Saturday, and warming up a bit more as we get into Saturday afternoon. So that, it's not technically winter yet, you guys. We have, another, week and a half or so, but it's that time of the year. It's cold, so really no surprise there. So that's all I have for you today. Make sure you follow us on X or Twitter, however the heck you want to call it, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, as well as our TikTok page. Make sure you hit see first on Facebook so you don't miss any of our live videos. If you would like to get set up with a demo with us, you can scan that QR code above my head. And then if you have any questions or concerns, you can call us at 855-334-4245. You can email us at info@hailtrace.com, and check out our website at www.hailtrace.com. And I am meteorologist Heather Kay. I hope you all have a great rest of your Wednesday.